to start with you. You voted Republican your whole life, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. As a matter of fact, I grew up in Alaska, and I was riding on a Don Young for Congress float when I was 3 years old in 1980. So I haven't voted for Democrats since that time or worked for or helped a Democrat.
All right, so it goes way back. If Donald Trump is the Republican nominee, will you vote for him?
No, absolutely not. And I think, he definitely is going to be the nominee at this point, and there's just no way. And for me, it's not an ideological thing, at least not primarily, even though I do have ideological differences with Donald. The problem is that I think that he's really unfit for the office as a human being. And really, I think the only thing that you need to know about Donald Trump is that as we woke up yesterday, I think the whole country knew, everybody knew he was going to win Indiana. He was going to more or less sew up the nomination. Everybody knew that. So what does he do? He goes on TV and says that Ted Cruz's father was involved in JFK's assassination because of something he read in the National Enquirer. That's not behavior that you expect from a person who's frankly mentally balanced. When he mocks the disabled reporter for his disability, I would be ashamed of that behavior coming from my 15-year-old son. So it really is the sort of thing that I would just be terrified of what would happen to the country and to the world at large if he was the president.
Matt Schlapp, you have said that you will vote for the Republican nominee, even if it is Donald Trump. Why? And how do you react, by the way, to what Leon has just said?
Well, look, it's very simple in America. We have what has developed to be a two-party system. We have one party, the Republicans, who are on the center right, and we have another party, the Democratic Party, that's on the center left. And independents who run separate and aside from the parties don't win in America. So one of these two, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, is going to be the president. To me, it's very clear. Even if I only think Donald Trump will be a reliable conservative on about half the issues I care about, and I don't even know, I don't know what he's going to do, but let's just say it's 50%. He'll be so much better than Hillary Clinton, who will be wrong on every single issue 100% of the time. She will pick bad people for the Supreme Court. She will not uphold life in the womb. She will not be for lowering our rates of taxation in this country, which are the highest in the world. She will not be able to add jobs and turn our economy around. And we've already seen her foreign policy disaster, which resulted in deaths in Benghazi.
But Matt, I don't think Leon was talking ideologically here. He was making the point that in terms of his character, in terms of his character, making fun of a disabled reporter, some of the sexist remarks, saying many Mexicans are rapists, saying all of America should close its borders to Muslims for a certain period of time. That this is problematic. Yeah.
Let me be clear here. If we're talking about somebody's moral authority, Hillary Clinton was part of an administration and her husband was impeached. How many presidents in America have been impeached? And that was because of moral turpitude. So I don't exactly think the Clintons are going to be able to run out there and make the moral case as to why Hillary Clinton should be president. I think that's absurd.
But I think, Matt, this is about what some Republicans, including Leon, are saying. And Leon, can I take it a step further with you? You say you won't vote for Donald Trump because some of the things he's said and done that sort of make you question some aspect of his character. Will you go one step further and vote for Hillary Clinton?
No, I mean, look, the ideal situation for me would be to vote for somebody who's, a third-party candidate or just not vote at all at the top of the ticket. And it's not really a moral issue. I think there have been plenty of good presidents and politicians who've not been especially moral people. It's a question of judgment. It's a question of character. It's a question of, what am I going to wake up and find that Donald Trump has done to the world tomorrow, if he's put in the office? He responded to Marco Rubio making a crack about his hand size by defending the size of his manhood in a debate on live television. What is that kind of person going to do when somebody like Hugo Chavez comes to the UN and makes some inflammatory speech? Back in 2004, George W. Bush understood you have to let the little man rant and have his saying, but as the leader of the free world, you got to be the bigger man sometimes. Donald Trump is constitutionally incapable of doing that, and it terrifies me as somebody who has to raise a daughter and a son in this country of what'll happen.